My name is Jess Servion, and I'm super excited to bring you my new podcast, The Juice with Jess. This podcast is going to be about everything in your customer's journey. We're talking acquisition, awareness, making that purchase, retaining that customer, bringing them back around, and everything in between. This is going to be all about delivering dope brand experiences and talking to some really amazing people who are in the customer experience space, the marketing space, and everything in between. Hey, it's me, Jess. Welcome back to another episode of The Juice. I am super excited to bring you this week's episode because we are with my friend, Sarah Grosz.
You got it.
Oh man, I butchered that. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. You actually, that was perfect. Exactly how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Oh, gross. Nobody can pronounce my last name. It's Servion, but everybody's like Curvilon.
Same thing.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, Sarah leads influencer marketing at Allbirds, but she has a really dope story that I can't wait to dive into because there's some really fun stuff. I'm going to hand it over to Sarah so she can tell you a little bit more about her, and then we're going to dive in.
Sure. Thanks for having me, by the way. This is so fun. I love this. So I am the influencer marketing manager at Allbirds. Before that, I was consulting for a few years. But what really got me into influencer marketing was working at a performance marketing agency called Mute 6. I started and scaled the influencer department. So what's cool is we had a bunch of different performance departments. So Facebook ads, paid search, email, all the things. And influencer was one of the pieces that was missing. So I was able to plug into the other channels and help them grow while also creating my own service. And then, we ended up working with over 200 of some of my favorite D2C brands. There was, I think, a team of maybe 12, 13 campaign managers, 2 video editors. It was this whole thing. And I just dropped out of college a few years before, and I was the youngest on the team, and it was just absolute madness, but it was so much fun. And that's where my passion came from.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I love the fact that you also just said that you dropped out of college. But wait, I want to touch on this. You dropped out of college and then moved to LA.
Immediately moved to LA.
But you had no job, right?
So actually, I did have a job. I was going to school at Syracuse University. I was a junior, and to be honest, I was failing most of my classes. Actually, I don't think my mom still knows that that was a big factor. Is I was working at a tech startup, and I was like really passionate about building and growing there. And I just didn't think school was right for me. I remember I took running for fitness as like a class for credits. And I'm like, this is great. I love it. But also, where am I learning? How can I leverage my passion to move me forward in life? And at the time, I felt like all my friends were still figuring it out. And I'm like, okay, I want to do this. Not only that, but I want to put like gas to the pedal. How do I do that? How do I just like start my career? So I actually applied at an internship, and I ended up getting connected with the CEO of a marketing agency, and the agency was out in LA. And we connected, and he's like, oh yeah, what's this internship job you keep on mentioning? And I'm like, what do you mean? I applied to it online. It's your company.
Stop.
And it was a fake posting, or maybe it was an old posting, but they had no intention of hiring an intern. And to be honest, it was like a startup, and it was LinkedIn had a moment, and they were like the cool marketing, like Venice Beach, LA agency, the disruptors that every single like marketing bro wanted to be a part of. And so I was a part of the like marketing bro, like fangirl team. And so a lot of shit happened on campus, and I ended up getting into some trouble, blacklisted from the business school. Took all of the conversation to LinkedIn to kind of like string everyone along and kind of like exposing like what it's like to be a student entrepreneur with not so much support from campus. And this marketing agency ate it up, and they were really prominent on LinkedIn. So they also loved that I was posting on LinkedIn too. And they offered me a full-time job with the contingency of dropping out of school and moving to LA.
No way. They were like, yeah, we'll give you a full-time job if you leave school.
I mean, I'm like, perfect. Either I was going to take myself out or find someone who was going to like do it for me. So I had no hesitation. What was cool is that I remember kind of like calling my mom and talking about this. And the way the conversation happened was, it's like, hey, I am doing this. I hope you can support me. And it was the best conversation ever. I had full support from my mom, which definitely was helpful. But yeah, moving to LA, knew a handful of people on the team that I was working with and didn't have any friends. I had actually met up with like one distant, like second cousin once removed. Yeah. I don't know, like for a quick holiday, but other than that, I've just been vibing.
Yeah, I love that. I think this is completely off topic of customer experience, brand experience, or influencer marketing right now. But I think what's really interesting is that LA is a very lonely place. But once you find your people here, it's a vibe.
Oh, hell yeah. And then also a lot of people just don't grow up in LA that are here now. And so I think the neutralizer is so many people start at the same place when they move. And so once you kind of like realize, hey, we started the same place and we're all trying to get to our next moment. It's so much easier to connect with people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that there's also like there's a lot of like events and fun stuff always happening, you know, like you're like, oh, we'll get there. We got a surprise at the end. Howdy. Anyway, okay, let's talk about, you have a wealth of knowledge about influencer marketing, and I really want to talk about like some really fun things because this podcast is really about customer experience, but not just the support piece of it, like the entirety of a customer's journey, right? And I think what's really interesting about like what you specialize in influencer marketing is like literal influencers influencing people to purchase your product, right? And it's such a big acquisition channel. But I think people look at it as just like, oh, you just do influencer and that's it. They don't think about like the whole full depths that go behind all of it, right? So I'd love to like just start at this part. Like, I want to discuss taking risks with different influencers in your career. I want to talk about, has there ever been a time where you believed like a certain influencer was like going to be so good and it wasn't good?
Flopped. Yeah. So often.
I know.
I mean, so with like influencer marketing, you can test as much as you can, but when you have a partnership, there's always going to be the first post. And what's interesting about influencer marketing is that it's an ad, but it's also supposed to be an organic placement. Mm-hmm. And so it's finding the mix where the influencer, you can leverage the influencer for their knowledge on how their audience reacts, so that it's not just an obvious ad, but it's the dance by giving them the right unique selling points so that they can sell the product while connecting to their audience. And then there's also this another layer of it's marketing. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, people aren't convinced seeing a product for the first time. And so how many times do you need to engage with an influencer to have that breakthrough? But also, if you push it too far, like sometimes like influencers are just flops and they'll never work. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many times you partner with them. Yeah. And so it's a lot of trial and error. A lot of it is setting internal expectations. Yeah. But then, there's a whole lot of
there's like
factors.
That internal expectations piece, because then they're like, okay, great, make this campaign go viral, but it like doesn't work that way.
I mean, we can all hope.
I know, you can hope, right? But it's like you got to have thoughts and prayers first, you know?
Right. And then there's also a huge guardrail, especially working with an established brand. Yeah. And this is like, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of brands, and it's always been a challenge, is how do you go viral and align with the influencer and align with your brand, especially if it's like more luxe or more elevated. Doing like a quick viral TikTok post with a voiceover, that's just not pushing your brand in the right direction in terms of aspirational, but maybe it will get your brand really top of mind, and just because it goes viral that you get this awareness, but it doesn't speak to any of the selling points of your product, so you're not actually acquiring new customers or customers in general.
Right. It's such a balance. It's such a balance. Like, it's like, okay, it's an awareness play. It could definitely be an awareness play, but like, it doesn't always lead to acquisition. Right? What metrics are you looking at to like see if like you're performing correct, or not like you, but like your campaigns are performing correctly?
Sure. So, I mean, just in general, like influencer marketing, there's so many different KPIs, key performance indicators. Usually where I bucket it is acquiring content, acquiring some sort of awareness, and then also acquiring customers. And so content usually feeds into other channels.
Right.
So Facebook ads or Meta ads in general, TikTok ads, even like on-site conversion rate, emails. There's so many places where you can leverage influencer content. But then in terms of metrics, looking at feed, like the influencer's feed and social feeds. Yeah. I usually go by CPM, so cost per 1,000 impressions. Yeah. And then you can kind of cross-check and see, okay, are we seeing the same efficiency for Facebook ads, or are we just super expensive? How can we create efficiency there? Yeah. And then just depending on your business model, you can do customer acquisition cost. You can CAC. CAC. That's usually what I've seen. Pretty universal in terms of like using influencer for customer acquisition.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, working at Mute 6, or just like honestly, not even just Mute 6, like hundreds of brands, right? Like, tell me what is your best influencer campaign you've ever done?
Ooh, best. Actually, I think my favorite campaign to this date was my first campaign ever. Okay. And this was actually before Mute 6 for this like agency that I dropped out of school for. I actually had this one client that knew the agency for what we call growth hacking. Yeah. And
what is growth hacking?
I mean, at the time it was a pseudonym for make me a lot of money with $0 budget. Right. And I'm just straight out of college. So I'm like, okay, put me in coach. I can do all of this. Yeah. And they're like, great, she can do all of this. So we had a makeup brand, and they were pretty well known in Italy, a small indie brand, and they wanted to launch in the States, and I did a lot of PR hacking at the time where I was just scraping targeted leads, and it was a weird mix of like scraping and business development where I would reach out and I don't know, basically the process that was outlined, it was so transferable into influencer marketing, where instead of looking at the database we looked at was BuzzSumo to find authors and journalists. Instead of that, we used Instagram. And we use the same tools to reach out via email, because there's the contact button in Instagram, or there's the email in bios. And so I would commission these virtual assistants to find all of these emails, and I would just plug them into these sales outreach programs so that I could reach out at scale to influencers. And this was back in 2018, where influencer marketing was just starting. And I remember reaching out to hundreds and hundreds of influencers, and within 2 months, we saw over 200 influencers post. And these were kind of like macro influencers, especially at the time, where they had 100K plus followers. And it was just kind of like my aha moment, where you could just like once you like reach out to people, be like, hey, try this. And people like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. But it was cool, especially at the time, starting when I did, because I had to do everything manually, like tracking content and communicating both with my team and then also with the client. And it's like, this is what success looks like. And I remember I had this massive deck with each slide representing an influencer that I reached out to. And it was like a red light, green light system where at the bottom I like had a block of red, meaning like they're not interested, or a yellow, which means that I had to talk with a client and answer a question, or green, meaning like we have their address, product is sent. And I'm like, oh my God, like if this was the scenario today, like more than half of the brands that do influencer marketing, I bet you wouldn't still do it because it was such a manual process.
Yeah.
But it was so good to know how everything works from the ground up, and then now supplementing it with so many more efficient tools. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I've worked with brands like on the freelancing stuff, but they don't got these tools still. Like I'm not going to name any names, okay? But I have seen a program where it was thousands upon thousands of like creators, right, across so many different industries. And they were doing all of this through Google Sheets and tracking it very manually. And it's a big company. Yeah. It's not a tiny company, you know?
Google spreadsheets are big. It kills me when brands DM at scale. I'm like, even going back to customer success, like DMs are such a hub for problem solving that you're adding a layer of communication.
Dude.
And I'm like, and there's no tagging, there's all these additional tools that can connect to Instagram Messenger, but I'm like, why would you start there?
Yeah. I'm telling you, I still see brands doing this. I actually just ran into something because the customer support team and the affiliate team like needed to work in the inbox, but then what happened was I put the customer support person in the inbox so she can like deal with like ad comments problems and stuff like that, right? And then she like poked around and like looked in the DMs just to be like, oh, do you need support or this or that, right? And then it ruined this manual system.
Yeah,
people still do this,
but it's also like an unavoidable evil.
Yeah.
Where influencers don't have their contact information out, which I'm like, why would you? Why?
PR at influencer.com,
I mean, know? Yeah, even just do that. But there's so many accounts where they just keep their information, especially on, I see this most often with TikTokers who don't have a ton of following on Instagram, and there's no contact information on TikTok.
Yeah.
Or there's no DM. You have to be mutually following each other, which is like the chance of that happening is like slim to none. I'm like, why isn't all of the influencers following me on TikTok? Probably because they never post. So the natural progression, if you can't find their contact info, is DM on Instagram. But again, it's also just like the notifications and the unreads on DM is crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I try to avoid it as much as possible.
I know, it gets lost in the sauce, man. So I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up to the nightmare question that I was going to ask you about influencer marketing. That seems like a nightmare, right?
Yeah, this is, definitely something that I constantly scratch my head at. I think like right now I have a good system going where I'm like, the system is don't engage until someone tells me there's an influencer. Yeah. I'm like, okay, great, my time to shine. That's definitely a constantly.
Yeah, no, I bet. So in the realm of like a customer's journey, and I know we like kind of like talked about this a little bit, but you know, if influencer marketing is at acquisition and awareness, where do you think, not necessarily for the customer in particular, but like even at the influencer, like how do you retain them, right? Like how do you keep them coming back, like, and wanting to constantly like promote your brand, like put, and be just a part of the funnel?
Yeah, actually, I forget which brand this was, but I had this aha moment. There was one brand that I was working with, and they only wanted to work with these like massive celebrities. And this is a few years ago. And I'm like, guys, you're still working on credibility. There's no, it was such a small brand, and I remember I'm like, oh, but this is such a good product, and we just need to get like these people to say yes to trying. And so what we did was try to integrate within their close circles. So let's say Justin Bieber is a celebrity that we want to get in touch with. The strategy there was, let's see who Justin's following, assuming that it's close personal connections, and it's definitely not going to even be close to amount of people that who follow him.
Right.
And there might be an account with, a few thousand followers, and you can go in and see if they liked each other's posts. And I'm like, okay, let's start seeding product to their network. And then once we reach out to Justin, maybe he's already heard of us.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just like a talking point where I can call names that he for sure knows and would care about that might be more interesting than like just a random someone else.
Yeah.
To get in touch. But also kind of with that concept is that the retention part is that you can work with an influencer so many times. And at some point it gets boring.
Yes.
And this is also something that I'm actually testing right now is like, how many times can we have an influencer talk about us without plateauing?
Right.
Because there's only so many things about either a brand or a product that keeps people interesting. And then there's also so many creative ideas on top of that, or there's definitely a finite amount. But if you can work with their circle of influencers or within their closer network, you can assume that they have some follower crossover. And so maybe I'm seeing content from Justin Bieber, or maybe I'm seeing content from Hailey Bieber, just knowing they have such similar crossover that the customer is constantly engaged and interested.
Right. Right. Yeah, because it can get stale. Like, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of just micro influencers that I follow, right? Like, I don't know, get ready with me videos. I don't know why I like those so much. Or the ones where they're like...
The AMSR?
Yes.
ASMR?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
But it's not like anything like, oh, okay. Like, about a mic, right? It's like something really fucking weird, like, I don't know, makeup or whatever, and like, they're like cleaning supplies. That's what.
Ew, that's weird.
Okay, I'm weird. I am weird. At least I'm clean.
Okay, but that's on my feed too.
Yeah, all right, Sarah. Anyway, the point is, though, is like, so a get ready with me video, right? There's this one micro influencer that I follow, and like, she's like always kind of repping like these brands, these clothing brands or whatever. But I actually started getting really annoyed with her videos.
Is she selling out?
I don't think it's like selling out. It's not even to do with the product. It was just like consistently the same type of motions or the same type of comments. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's got to get stale on the brand side too if you're still constantly doing the same influencer.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And I think that's where a lot of brands create like briefs.
Yeah.
And you can do like briefs on like a brand moment. Maybe you're doing a new product launch, a new variation of what you already have, and you create a campaign for newness. Other opportunities for newness is like cultural moments or holidays too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much repetition, and also on social, when there's a good idea, so many people copy it.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you're hearing the same sounds, you're seeing the same motions. And what I see as a trend is like brands try to hop on it too, which super smart. But again, like, is that the best newness that you can offer?
Right. I know. It's like you gotta constantly be innovative and constantly like, it kind of goes back to actually one of the things I was talking about in another podcast episode, but about like spectacle marketing in a way. It's like there's got to be some sort of like spectacle in it, because at some point your audience like just gotta stop fucking believing you that you want the soda in your guy's hand. Like, I've tried that soda, and that soda's shitty. You know?
Actually, this reminds me of a campaign that I was a part of, and oh my God, it's a very popular cereal brand that we were working with to launch them on TikTok. And I remember on TikTok, we really leaned into cringe culture. And I remember like sparked a memory, like it sparked like a moment. I remember watching a video and this person was just like doing super normal things, talking to camera. This is all on TikTok.
Yeah.
And there was like a cat in the background on like either a shelf or a pedestal. And all of the comments were saying like, the cat though. And I'm like, okay, like this is cool. This is so unexpected, and everyone in the comments jumped on the cat bandwagon, even though the content was totally not about that.
Yeah.
And so for this cereal brand, what we did was we had them doing like very normal things, you know, like maybe it was a get ready with me, maybe it was like a taste test, like I don't know, very normal things, but we really emphasized milk before cereal, or what is it? You pour the milk in first and then the cereal.
Oh, because it's cringe.
It's cringe. And we had all of a sudden so many people paying it, even if they're just like talking to camera, having a family moment, like eating, just having breakfast, people would run straight to the comments. No!
Yeah.
Like, that's the wrong way. Like, I can't believe this. Like, I hate this so much. I'm like, great. Not only are people engaging and we're optimizing for that, but there's that like recall where they're for sure seeing the brand name on the box because they're paying attention to the action of like pouring the cereal in the bowl.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. So it's like a little spectacle virality moment, right? Of pissing the audience off.
Oh. I mean, I like to piss them off. I don't know. It just has to be, brand friendliness. But also I'm like, what's the actual cost? If people are vocal, you're sparking conversation, and hopefully it's like not too risky. Yeah. But that's something else that I'm like, brands should like really understand the scope, and if you want to do influencer marketing, how much risk are you willing to take? Especially when you don't have control of like what the history of the influencer is and all of the maybe risky activities they did in their past life. And that's kind of like one of my favorite things especially on TikTok, when someone's like exposed for something that they did in like high school. I'm like, oof.
I know.
Your CX is great. That phrase is so last season. We want to hear your CX is incredible, because at Customer, we believe in delivering incredible customer experiences. Introducing KIQ Agent Assist, the ultimate CX team AI sidekick built on our CRM to give agents superhero capabilities and efficiency. When building KIQ Agent Assist, we had goals in mind. 1, get rid of long customer wait times and increase the speed of customer resolution. 2, provide the CS team with real-time data for personalized prompts. 3, delegate those mundane tasks to AI. And 4, free up the agents to deliver a human experience. But listen, we didn't stop there. We wanted to deliver more. Check out KIQ Agent Assist's amazing features with suggested responses, automatic two-way translation in 53 languages, and conversation summary. Upgrade your customer experience with KIQ Agent Assist. Try it today and see the difference. Customer, delivering incredible CX every single time.
You know, kind of like switching gears, but still in like the same vein, because this is a question that popped up for me. Have you or your team ever caused a viral moment that's affected the customer experience team?
That has affected a customer, I guess.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I know that this has happened at Feastables. Like, listen, what you guys said on this thing was not
right. I mean, coupon codes happen all the time.
Oh, all the time.
Especially I'm a fan of keeping coupon codes always on. Just because, especially if content's in feed, you have the chance of maybe 10 years from now getting a customer because they're scrolling all the way through. I don't know. But I remember also on TikTok, this is kind of funny. So I was working with this brand and they were kind of on the edge of a gambling brand, where it was more of like a mystery box. Okay. And you paid for some sort of tokens, and the tokens would get you different levels of mystery box. And it was like a kind of like a streetwear brand, or like a streetwear lifestyle brand. And so you would unbox, maybe it was like a keychain with the smallest tier, like sneakers, which would be the next tier up, or you could do like a whole Louis Vuitton bag. And it's kind of gambling because you would always win, but like you wouldn't always win great. And or you can kind of like recycle your winning and be like, actually I want to trade it in for, I don't know. There's a whole
interesting.
There's
That's
a whole
very
level
complex.
of that. Yeah. And so I remember it was so disruptive. We worked with an influencer on TikTok doing something and it went viral. But what happened was it spun off so many fan accounts of this brand where they would just show there was a really insane digital unboxing experience where the entire fan accounts would just buy more tokens and just show their screen recordings of like their unboxing experience, and they would do a voiceover being like, yeah, let's go, next one, baby. And it was just like a whole and I'm talking like at least a few hundred accounts were made, and we're like scratching our heads being like, where did this come from?
Dude, like trends are so weird. Like trends are absolutely so weird, you know? Like it's so it's like, where did that come from? Like one person said this was cool and then 100 other people were like, yeah, let's do it.
But also I'm like, why is this the one that you choose?
Yeah.
There's so many like other things. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, well, in that same vein, what trends do you think are going to be like a game changer in the influencer marketing world?
Well, right now there's this one account that I think is just so serendipitous in where they are. The account is on TikTok. I like TikTok a little bit. It's on TikTok. Her name's Risa Tisa.
Oh my God. I was hoping you would bring this up. Because that's where my mind literally just went. Okay, keep going and then I have thoughts.
So Risa Tisa, all of a sudden, she's just this like very charming woman and she speaks directly to camera. And there's no frills. There's literally no editing. She's just one shot. And she all of a sudden wanted to talk about her experience through COVID, meeting a man, ending up living with him, marrying him, and then divorcing him, all like marrying and divorcing within like 6 months. And then it was all like through the first year of COVID. So he came into her life, really kind of messed it up and then left. And he was lying about everything.
It's so crazy.
On the phone in front of her, talking to family or talking to business people. But at the end, you learn that he wasn't actually talking to someone. He was just faking and having a one-way conversation just to lie, and there was no point. It was just ridiculousness. But the trend here that I think is going to really have a bigger moment is one, direct to camera, and specifically conversations. And then also she added on this long format where, oh my gosh, guys, it was a playlist of 50 videos, 50 videos, and each of them were about 10 minutes long. Yeah. So that's 500 minutes of video. Yeah. And I think, and this is like a new creator too. Yeah. She had only
unintentional creator.
So unintentional. Yeah. And it's kind of like cringy where she's a little bit older. Yeah. She's not like the typical TikTok influencer or
she's not dancing.
She's not the archetype. Yeah. But I think every single one of her videos, one of her 50 videos has over 1 million impressions, and this is within a week.
I know.
1 week. I know. And the last time I checked, she had 2 million followers. Yeah. So there's a few takeaways there, like one, direct to camera. Yeah. Long form format, and then also, I think it's just like how the industry is shifting. Music is going to be less prominent for a piece of content to go viral. And it just has a lot to do with what's changing in the industry. A lot of music has been taken down just from new deals and new partnerships and changes within partnerships with TikTok. And so I think the biggest trend is the individuality and uniqueness that a creator makes that isn't as like easily replicated, and that's the conversation to camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Conversation to camera right now. I'm trying to make my content. No, I think you're absolutely right though, because I think that is the trend. I think that's a storytelling trend, even across like e-commerce brands, right? Like even if you see like, so actually completely stepping out of social, right? Like you're seeing more of a trend on like social commerce, like videos too. And you're seeing more of like that founder story being sitting on like websites, right? And I think that that's really, I think it's people want to feel connected. People want to feel connected in the content that they're consuming. They want to feel connected to a brand, right? And so it's like a different level of creating content. It's not just like, oh, here's my spectacle and like I'm going to do all the things. No, it's like one-on-one moment of like, no, you need this.
100%. And also just with like how popular e-com and just brands are these days. Yeah. It's so easy to literally create a copy and paste of a brand and just change the name. And I saw an Instagram post the other day and it was just like copycats are out, and it was like Graza has a copycat and Can has a copycat and Can Euphorics has a copycat, and it's literally same color, same font, same everything, except just the words are a little bit different. And what's so important is to create these brand moats. And the storytelling is a moat, especially when it comes to building the brand and the founder's story that cannot be replicated. And another really customer success is another element that just cannot be replicated. Right. And then also like social is another thing that just cannot be replicated. You can copy my content, but the way that I engage with my audience cannot, you just can't copy and paste it. Yeah. And also like the amount of followers and the community that you're building, it's the moat that brands need to build in order to actually create success.
Right. Absolutely. I think, man, end it there. I feel like that was the moment. Like, because you're absolutely right. Like, no, people don't want to buy from you because if you're like just like everybody else, right? Like they want to have a connection to you. They want to feel like, whether it's, you know, a connection of an influencer liking your brand or your own content and like the storytelling piece of it, or it's the customer experience team and like that human experience, like in your email marketing, all of these channels, right? Like people want to feel connected in order to actually continue purchasing from you, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, there's no reason why, if you're not obsessed, if the product is not life-changing, there's no other reason why people need to stay with you.
Absolutely.
Or like try something else. And there's, especially in like consumable products where there's all these like different ingredients popping up and you're like, oh, but this like combo of this, I'm like, you just need to create a connection moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Connection moment. That's the hit. Connection moment. Okay, couple more questions, but I mean that's actually quite a few, because I want to get your take on AI in influencers and influencer marketing and stuff. Because there's like obviously like more imagery, actually I take it back. Not even just more imagery, but like AI utilization in developing scripts even.
So actually, yeah, what I have been really excited about and actually myself have used is using AI to create timelines, process. Also, like I'll say like, hey, we have we're launching a product this time. We're looking to work with this many influencers. Create a timeline. for me with important dates and execution dates, so that I don't need to like backtrack myself and be like, okay, this is when we start reaching out to influencers, and this is the last day we can send out product, and this is when we start seeing content come in. AI is doing that for me. Creating briefs is a really, really nice one. You can give them AI a few prompts. I'm talking more specifically ChatGPT.
Yeah, of course.
Giving a few prompts, and it'll spit back out like, what are the unique selling points that the influencer should highlight? What are the concepts that they should lean into? Briefs are really, really big. Another thing that I use ChatGPT for is the outreach element. When I reach out to influencers, I try to stick with email. But email is cool because you can also test your messaging and see what really hits. And I use tools that like give me feedback, like open rates, response rates, like click-through rates. And so testing subject lines, testing, like I usually actually sometimes use a press article in the outreach to add some credibility, because I mean you can be the biggest brand in the world, but you can always be surprised at how little people know about it. So adding in that like little credibility moment is really helpful. So I use ChatGPT to create different outreach templates, different cadences for it, the whole thing. And then there's also the content aspect, where it's something that I'm excited to dabble in. I don't have too much.
I think it's where I struggle from the content, like the AI content piece is, and this isn't just for like my content, like this is actually like, there's a brand that I do marketing for, but like CMO. So it's like, you do everything, you know what I mean? Like great title, but my point is though, is I was like kind of using ChatGPT to like help me with like the same thing of like process and that type of stuff, but then also helping me come up with like scripting for like content, because it's like hard sometimes you like completely like have writer's block, but I think it's hard unless you do the right prompts, and getting to the right prompts is like takes time is my point.
100%. But also when you get to the right prompt, usually my little hack is I tell ChatGPT, give me 50 more examples. And then from those examples, I usually ask, give me the top 5 like recommendations from that list. Because it doesn't list it in like best. And ChatGPT like has its own way of defining best. I mean, you can give it more more insight on what best should mean. But that's been super helpful for me. Is like, okay, give me all the options. And then I can also present that to like my team and say like, here's everything that we thought about. Here's our top selections. And it just makes me look like a smarter, better
you're
marketer.
So good. Yeah.
No, I'm
you're
like,
so good.
I came up with this all myself.
Just me. Okay. No, you're right. It's like, it's constantly, it's like the initial prompt, but you still got to do work with it, and I think AI can like in many different areas make us faster, better, and I don't want to say stronger, but
mentally stronger.
Cool. So are there any influencer brands that you like? That you like really love? No, give me your top 3.
There's so many. Right now, I have to lean back on the first brand that comes to mind is Pop Daddy Snacks.
I don't know that one.
Oh my gosh!
See, like, exactly your point. About
we need a phone.
Awareness.
Pop Daddy Snacks. Pop Daddy Snacks. It's like listening, and you will get it as soon as we leave this conversation. Go on TikTok, and you'll get it. They're leaning into TikTok Shop, and
I love TikTok Shop, dude. I love TikTok Shop.
It's like I love it. It's like a love-hate relationship because I'm like, you're taking a lot of my money.
Yeah. I mean, fair. Yes, fair. I have a brand that I work with that is on TikTok Shop, like wasn't finding a lot of success in just the e-com store, but then we had a lot of like success in like, because it was a it was a challenge brand, meaning like you consume this, you post your challenge. So like that pathway is very be online, right? So then continuously purchasing from the store is a little bit hard, right? But like, this is why I like TikTok Shop for them specifically, because we're already on TikTok Shop, we're already on TikTok. So it's so easy to be like, hey, go purchase it through here, you know?
100%. What I also love about TikTok Shop specifically is the visual aspect, where you can not only see the product, and that's how it's usually merchandised on social or on site, is you see the product. But what I love, especially on the content aspect of TikTok Shop, is the reactions to the product that really sell. And this is like visual, like, like, ready? Should we do a thumbnail for this little?
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, it's pairing the visual of the product, the all of the like interesting things that are going on screen, and the actual, especially on like consumables or even with apparel, just the reaction trying things on. I'm like, oh my gosh, the perfect fit. Whoa, like, and then even like seeing other people like step into frame and give their reaction. It's just not something that's normal in like the purchasing journey or the consumer journey. That's where I think TikTok Shop is disrupting the most. And that's the edge off of Amazon, where it's like you get the reactions. That's so much different than reviews.
Absolutely. I mean, also, when you talk about reviews, right, you hit this part. Like, I see a lot of brands like putting a lot of emphasis and getting photos and videos back and then incentivizing that because that's good UGC for them, right? But then on these channels on like TikTok Shop, like you get those reactions like so quickly. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, UGC sells. User-generated content.
Yes.
It sells, right? So it's like finding the easiest path to that is like what is helpful, you know? So we only have a couple minutes left, and I just want to point this out because this will not air until after our party. But the whole reason I'm in LA right now and with my homegirl, Sarah, is because we are hosting a D2C ranch party. Do you want to tell them what a D2C ranch party is?
Oh my God, you're so excited about this.
I am. Come on down.
It's so funny. Yeah, Jess reached out. This is our first time like actually having a conversation.
Oh, my friend.
So funny, but yeah, internet friends love it.
Yeah.
Live, laugh, love. And yeah, we wanted to throw an event, and I told Jess, I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't know each other, and I'm just gonna say this random idea. What about a D2C ranch party? I'm like, but not like ranch. I'm like ranch dressing, where we have unlimited fountains of ranch and anything that you can dip into, and people are just enjoying their ranch. The ranch. And you were like, hell yeah, let's go. Let's like more.
Yeah.
And so we're throwing a D2C ranch party.
Yeah.
All of our CPG and D2C founder friends are coming. Completely sold out.
Completely sold out.
Like,
we
we're
will also add
over-competitive.
powered by customer. So
Powered by customer.
like, we're legit, okay? Like, you don't even just follow the juice for the podcast piece of it. You follow the juice for the weird events.
Yeah. And I can't wait to throw more weird ones with you.
I'm ready. Let's do it. So on that note, more to come because we're actually going to do some video content there. So we'll post that online and in other places, and link it in the show notes. But before we end, Sarah, can you just tell them where can they find you?
Ooh, LinkedIn is always a good spot. Starting to post more content there, but more specifically, Instagram. I have like a fun little CPG D2C spot. It's called good.cpg, and I share mostly stories on different trends that I'm seeing, different pieces of content that I think are really pushing the needle and moving brands forward, and that's the best place that I like to chit chat.
Yeah, it's really good. We'll link all of Sarah's contact information in the show notes, but specifically follow the Instagram account. It's if you're into D2C and CPG and just like fun stuff and Good content, highly recommend. And on that note, thank you for joining me for another week of The Juice. I'm your host, Jess, and I'll see you next week on Thursday. Hey, wow, you made it to the end of the episode. That means that you like me and I like you, which also means you should subscribe to this show.